So when you put yourself on a schedule, not only of eating, but just keeping yourself in a routine, then your body functions the same way every single day. Your body knows. Hello. Welcome to Authentically Aligned, a wellness podcast where we speak on all things wellness, from fitness and nutrition to meditation and mindfulness, healing, growth, self-help, and so much more. If you are a new listener, welcome to the podcast. And if you're a returning listener, thank you so much for your love and support. And I want you to know that I'm sending you that same love and support right back. Today, I want to talk about the power of food, the things that you eat, how it can affect your mood, your hormones, and your everyday life. So, I used to be somebody who believed that I work very hard, and because I work hard, I should be able to eat whatever I want to eat. And I was working out all the time. I was teaching fitness classes. This is back in 2019, 2020. And I would eat whatever I wanted. And because I was working out so much, my body wasn't really affected by all that I was eating, or so I thought. What I could see, my body was not affected by what I was eating. And I was that person. Any of my friends, like longtime friends, know like I was in the Taco Bell drive-thru. I was drinking milkshakes like just to supplement my calories, and I was not fueling my body properly. And I think in 2021, I finally took a food sensitivity test. And that test told me that I had gluten sensitivity. That was the biggest thing for me was I have a gluten sensitivity. The rest of it I could kind of work around. But when I got the results back, in my head, I was like, no, I'm not ready to make that change. I don't want to make that change. Like, I like pasta and bread and all of the good things way too much to make that change. Well, then I really started getting into gut health and the importance of gut health. And I knew that my gut was not healthy. And so I kind of started to take this food sensitivity test a little bit more seriously. And I started playing around with how I felt when I didn't eat gluten and how I felt when I did eat gluten and all of these other foods that it recommended that I don't eat. And of course, immediately I noticed a difference in my body. So when I am not eating gluten, my body is not inflamed. I'm not bloated. And it's so interesting because people think that the inflammation only comes in their stomach or in their gut. But what I notice when I eat gluten is my entire body is inflamed. My face gets inflamed, my arms, everything. Like, I lose the tonnage in my body. And not to mention, not only aesthetically, but internally, I feel so sick. Like, I know if I eat a meal that has gluten in it, I'm going to be sick for at least 3 days. And so finally, I decided to take my health and my nutritional health and my gut health so much more serious. Now, there was a moment in time where I was following the super high protein trend. And I was eating as much protein as possible, but I was getting it in supplemental ways. I was getting it however I could. So I was getting that in the grab and go protein shakes. I was getting that in protein bars or anything that had added protein, I was all about it, not realizing at the time what that was doing to my gut health. Because all of these protein shakes, I was drinking, just the grab and go shakeable ones that come in, you can buy a box of them. And not realizing how many additives are inside of these protein shakes. You have oils and gums and all of these unnecessary things that, yes, you're getting your protein in. Yes, you are supplementing macronutrients in some way, but at the same time, you are also sacrificing micronutrients, and you're also sacrificing your gut microbiome because your gut cannot process these oils and gums. And then you're drinking them every single day. So your gut is working like overtime to process all of these foods. So you think about it in this sense, your body is having to work so much harder to process all of these foods. You are using so much more energy. So likely you're fatigued, likely after a meal you want to crash out, you want to take a nap, you don't want to do anything. And when I really started experimenting with my nutrition and my health and my body and the way that food makes me feel or makes me not feel, that is when food and nutrition and gut health and hormonal health became so much more important to me, because at that point, it was less about the muscle that I was building or the fat that I was losing, but it was actually about how my body was functioning and what my body could and could not process. So I come on here today, I'm giving you this personal story to give you a bit of insight on the things that I've been through. This is all from personal experience, but I want to share with you the things that I have learned, the things that I have found to be important in nutrition. And as somebody who is a certified nutrition coach and who helps my clients to heal their gut and eat in a holistic way, eating for their body, not just eating whatever anybody says you should be eating. And I think that that's something that is so interesting to me, because you can go on any social media site right now, whether it be Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is, and you see these people who post their what I eat in a day. And people then are viewing this and thinking that if they eat the same things, whatever this person is eating, that they're going to achieve the same results. But let me tell you, fitness and nutrition and all around wellness, holistic wellness, is not a one size fits all method. And so if you are not intuitively eating, if you are not eating for your specific body, there's no guarantee that you are going to get results that you desire. And in all honesty, it's a matter of trial and error. It's a matter of figuring out the things that work for you. It's a matter of doing an elimination diet and figuring out what your body can process, what your body can't process. So I'm coming to you today to share a little bit more information about the things that you can do in order to improve your nutrition, improve your gut health, improve your all-around holistic wellness, and even possibly improve your hormones and lower your cortisol and really find that homeostasis that your body thrives at. So as we start talking about food, recognizing that food is fuel for your body. It is what helps your body to function and process and regulate properly. But if you are fueling your body with toxins, with chemicals, with things that your body has to work 3 times as hard to digest and process, you are losing optimal energy. You're losing optimal functioning of your body. And anything that you consume is information for your body. And your body will process things as it sees fit. So the more whole foods that you're eating, the easier it is for your body to almost immediately turn that fuel, that food, into energy. We live in a culture where we believe food to be a mood booster. And the problem with this is that we go out and we eat something that we know is going to satisfy us in that moment. It's going to give us an instant dopamine release. It's going to give us that instant hormone release that we need to feel good. The second we take a bite, we receive that release of hormones. The problem is that when we have these hormones in our body, we continue eating because we think that it is making our body feel better. But then what happens is you eat the entire plate of mac and cheese at the steakhouse and you feel exhausted, you feel lethargic, you feel full, you feel like you can barely move. And you don't recognize in the moment, because it tastes good, what it is going to do in the future for your body. And not even in the long future, just in the short-term future, recognizing how your body is going to feel, because we're excited about how we're going to feel in the moment of eating those foods. So it's important to recognize that as we are fueling our body and as we are eating to create energy, we are eating things that are going to boost our mood in the long term, that are going to give us energy, that are going to put the least amount of stress on our body, that are going to process quickly through our body so that we can get better sleep. Because what we don't recognize and what we don't realize is that our food affects our mood, how we feel, our energy, our sleep, our hormones. It affects everything in our body. And then recognizing that what you eat and what your body can process and what feels good to you is not necessarily going to be the same thing that is good for anybody else to eat, whether it be your family members, your friends, your nutrition coach, whoever it is. Whatever somebody eats doesn't mean that your body is going to process those things the same way. And that's why it's so important for you to listen to your body, to eat intuitively, to experiment with the things that you can eat and the things that you can't eat, and recognize how you feel after you eat certain foods. What did this do to me? What am I feeling? Am I feeling tired? Am I feeling full? Am I feeling energized? Am I feeling sick? Really noticing what these foods are doing to your body rather than enjoying them and then moving through the rest of your life with a unhealthy gut. So let's talk about how food affects inflammation in your body. And this one is so interesting to me because there are so many people who are consistently taking anti-inflammatories because their body is constantly inflamed. Now, first of all, the anti-inflammatories that you're taking every single day, 2 times a day, those things are also ruining your gut microbiome because you are so consistently taking them. They are killing off good bacteria in your gut microbiome. But that's a whole nother side of what I want to talk about. But inflammation is so common right now. And I believe that inflammation is so common right now because of the foods that we are eating. And so many of the foods that we eat consist of inflammatory ingredients. And these ingredients include refined sugars, processed oils, alcohol, excess caffeine. All of these things are causing our body stress, inflammation, chronic pain, and they are actually increasing our cortisol, which is our stress hormone. So if you're wondering why you are consistently unable to sleep at night, or you are experiencing weight gain, or you're experiencing weight that you can't seem to shake even though you're doing all of the right things, or you're experiencing hair loss, or for women, you're experiencing menstrual cycles that are unpleasant and you're out for 3 days because your menstrual cycle takes you out. Let me just say, women, that is not normal. Your menstrual cycle should not take you out every single month. And if it is, there's a reason, and it's because your body is under a state of stress or it's chronically inflamed. And oftentimes, both of these things are due to the things that you are feeding your body. When you are constantly inflamed and your body has excess cortisol, you are likely experiencing this weight gain. You're experiencing almost like your body is foreign to you. You don't know your body. And this also has to do with your hormones and balancing your hormones and recognizing and doing the research on foods that are going to help you to stabilize your hormones and stabilize your cortisol and stabilize your blood sugar. Because when we're experiencing these blood sugar spikes, and then what happens after a spike, it goes straight back down. When you experience this spike, you have all of this energy, you're up, and then all of a sudden you crash. It's because you're not stabilizing your blood sugar. You're eating things that are going to spike your blood sugar in an instant, and that same instant, an hour later, is the same thing that makes you crash. So recognizing that your food isn't just something to eat and make you happy 3 to 4 times a day. And I think that is something that is really lost in our culture because we do have such abundance of great tasting food. And here's the thing, just because you're eating healthy doesn't mean that your food can't taste good. And just because you heal your gut and you're eating holistically doesn't mean that you can't ever eat mac and cheese again, or you can't ever eat fast food again. But it's just having the awareness and the understanding of what these things are doing to your body. And if you are eating all of these things in abundance, but then questioning why you are so dysregulated, why you are so stressed, why you can't seem to shake the weight that you have, or why your menstrual cycle is killing you every single month, or why you're suffering from infertility or PCOS. The sad part about these things is that these things are so common. And because they are so common, there is such an influx of information about these things and how to fix it. And here are the medicines that you can take, and here are the hormones that you can be on in order to fix these things. But our bodies can naturally balance our hormones. We don't need to be on these excess hormones. You just have to do the research, or you have to find somebody who has the knowledge on how to naturally balance your hormones and get them to a regulated state, get them to your own personal homeostasis. It makes living more sustainable. It makes living your life more natural. You're not having to be on a medication for the rest of your life. So it's important to educate yourself on these things. And if you choose to take additional hormones to help with this homeostasis, or you have, it's okay that you're on a medication for the rest of your life, then you do you. But what I'm sharing with you is the importance of creating a sustainable eating plan for your body. Something that you know is going to help your body function at an optimal level. And it is going to fix the root cause of these problems rather than just mask or put a Band-Aid on these problems. There are specific foods that can really harm your hormone health, and there are specific foods that can really help and benefit your hormone health. And this doesn't just go for women. This goes for men as well, but I think unfortunately, women experience symptoms much more than men experience symptoms of hormone imbalance. And women's symptoms are just much more severe. So this is why I direct this at women, but this goes for men as well. And finding the things that help you to balance your hormones and keep your homeostasis and keep you alive and thriving. And these are the things that are going to help you in the long run. I think that the biggest thing that I want to share with you today is the awareness that you can heal and fix anything with your diet or with natural supplements, and actually genuinely fix these things. You can reverse PCOS. You can reverse chronic inflammation. You can reverse all of these things with natural supplements. It's just a matter of figuring out what works for your body and what works for you. So with that being said, I'm going to give you a list of a few different foods that I have found to be gut healthy, that have helped me to stabilize my blood sugar, that have helped me to stabilize my hormones. And I will be honest, it has taken years to figure out the things that work for me, the things that don't work for me. Like I've said, I've done a food sensitivity test. I have seen a holistic doctor who helped me discover some of these supplements for my hormone health and my overall health and my gut health, and getting rid of some of the parasites that I had in my body. Because let me tell you guys, I was eating sushi like 3 to 4 times a week. I love sushi. I saw this holistic doctor and he was like, the amount of parasites that are in your body, you need to stop eating sushi. And it was a dagger to my heart. Like when I tell you, I had tears in my eyes in the moment, and I still have tears in my eyes to this day, because if I could eat sushi every single day, I would. But I recognize that that's where a lot of the parasites come from, which is kind of gross if you think about it. I still love sushi, and I don't know. But anyway, but seeing this holistic doctor helps to educate me on a lot of different things. But like I said, your body and what you eat is a matter of trial and error, and you have to figure out the things that work for you, and you have to figure out the things that don't work for you. So one of the major things that I have started incorporating into my diet are chia seeds. And I eat them first thing in the morning. It's part of my breakfast. And then I also eat them the last thing before I go to bed at night. I have created, my meal plan and what works for me. But chia seeds are high in fiber. They have omega-3s. They stabilize your blood sugar. They have magnesium. They have a ton of micronutrients that you don't get from other foods. And since I have incorporated them into my diet, I notice just the benefits that they have on my gut health and stabilizing my blood sugar. Because oftentimes what happens is the first thing that we eat in the morning it sets the tone for the rest of the day. And eating these in the morning is something that stabilizes my blood sugar. It keeps me full for an extended amount of time, and it just leaves me feeling energized and feeling good. Now, they're not the only thing that I eat in the morning, but that's part of my morning breakfast. And like I said, part of my evening time routine as well. Now, the next thing that I have incorporated to my diet, and those of you who know me are going to laugh, but it has actually helped me in so many ways. It's had so many health benefits for me, is matcha. And I started drinking matcha. Wow, it's probably been a couple of years now, because before that, I was addicted to caffeine, coffee specifically, and I was experiencing so much anxiety, so much stress. There is something that coffee does to me, and like anytime I drink coffee now, and part of it is because I don't consistently drink it, but I experience just this spike of anxiety. And the difference with matcha and coffee is that when you drink a cup of coffee, the caffeine hits you almost instantly, and it goes straight to your bloodstream, and all of it goes into your bloodstream. But with matcha, when you drink it, it still has caffeine. And believe me, it still gives me energy. But what happens is it's a slow release burn of caffeine into your body. So it's going to give you energy for a longer time. You're not going to experience that crash. And then you're also not going to experience the cortisol spike that you would receive if you drink coffee, because it's not adding to those stress hormones as much. It still probably could spike your cortisol, but it's not adding that instant anxiety and instant stress and then raising your cortisol and your stress hormones. So that has been really beneficial for me. Matcha also has so many different antioxidants, and because matcha is a green tea, it contains polyphenols, which actually are a really great fat burner. So any green tea that you can drink or any matcha that you drink contains polyphenols, and that is something that is going to help you consistently to burn fat. So drink your matcha. I'm just kidding, but I love my matcha. And I will tell you that since I stopped drinking coffee, and I'll have it from time to time, but since I stopped drinking coffee and started drinking matcha, the amount of anxiety that I don't experience is huge. And then I am also optimally functioning on my caffeine, where before I feel like my caffeine was almost overpowering me and I wasn't able to really focus. So it's a great way to get your caffeine, but also maintain a focus for the rest of your day. Something that I add into the matchas that I make at home is a moringa powder. And moringa powder, it's just a supplement. I started adding it into my matcha probably about a year ago. And it definitely is a mood stabilizer. It also stabilizes your blood sugar. It balances your hormones. It does lower your cortisol. But I've noticed that when I mix the moringa with my matcha, it just helps to stabilize everything. It keeps me at a steady baseline. And like I said, it helps to lower your cortisol. It helps to balance your hormones. It helps to just relieve a little bit of stress that you might be experiencing, whether it be internal or external stress. I notice that it helps to just regulate me a little bit more. And moringa also helps to support liver detox. So anybody who needs a little extra support in their liver, maybe start supplementing with moringa powder, and it just helps you to detox a little bit better. So moringa is a great supplement that I add into my diet pretty consistently. Something else that I started taking, again, a little over a year ago in January 2024, I started taking damiana supplements. And this was recommended to me by the holistic doctor that I see. And it was because I was experiencing pre-symptoms of PCOS. So I had cysts on my ovaries. I was in an exorbitant amount of pain. I was uncomfortable all the time, and my hormones were not balanced. I just was not in the greatest of places, and he recommended that I start taking this. And when I started taking this and when I started taking the other supplements that he recommended to me, I started to become more regular. I wasn't experiencing pain anymore. The cysts in my ovaries went away. I just started noticing a complete change in my overall health. Now, damiana is a natural mood booster. It boosts your libido and it helps with hormone regulation and equilibrium. So it just helps to rebalance your hormones. Now, before you start taking this, I would really do your own research. I would see a doctor of your own, see a holistic doctor, see somebody who is able to recommend it to you, because I don't know that it is for everybody, but I will say that it is something that really helped me along my journey, and it continues to help me just keep my mood stabilized, keep my hormones stabilized, and continue to experience no symptoms and no pain, which is beautiful for me. I am now healthy. I am experiencing optimal health when it comes to my hormones and my reproductive system. So this is something that really helped me. And then something that I've really started to incorporate every night, even sometimes in the morning. Morning time, I typically do hot water with lemon. And then evening time, I incorporate some kind of a tea, whether it's a detox tea or a peppermint tea, a ginger tea, green tea. Green tea I don't drink at night, but we talked about the benefits of green tea and just it being a fat burner. It's going to give you natural energy. It's just going to make you feel better. Ginger tea is going to be great for your gut health, for digestion. Same with peppermint tea. It just helps you to digest things better. Teas can be anti-inflammatory. Like I said, they can help with digestion. They can be calming. At the end of the night, I just like having a hot tea. It helps me to relax. It helps me to just stay present while I'm drinking my tea. And that's something that I've started to really incorporate into my diet. And I believe that it has helped with my gut health, with my digestion, just regulating in that area. And then the last thing that I have incorporated into my diet, into my daily routine, is a pre and probiotic. And it has helped me so much to regulate my gut health. It has helped with my hormone health, with my reproductive health. In an all-around sense, it has been such a beneficial supplement for me to be taking every single day. And it was recommended to me by one of my doctors. And again, for a while, she kept telling me to take it. And I was like, yeah. And then when I started finally taking it consistently, I noticed a major change in my body. So like I said, I mean, there are so many other things that I eat and incorporate into my diet, but these are the things that have helped me to balance my hormones, lower my cortisol, reduce stress, and really focus on my gut health. And in that, in balancing all of these things, I notice a stabilization of my mood. I notice a stabilization of my digestion, my energy levels, my sleep is better, my focus is better. So many benefits come from just implementing certain things into your diet, into your supplementation. So I wanted to share these things with you. Now, as we talk about these things, like I said, nutrition is not a one size fits all type of thing. It is going to require different testing. It is going to require different experimentation. What I recommend is doing a food sensitivity test. You can literally order one, They send it to you, you send it back, and you'll get an email a week or two later with all of the foods that you experience sensitivity to. And it's very interesting for me I recommend all of my clients to take this test. So it's interesting for me when their test comes back and I'm like, oh, that's so interesting because you can eat this, this, and this, and I can't eat this, this, and this. It's very interesting to me. And a lot of it I do think is based on blood type. People do eat for their blood type. But I think having an idea of exactly what foods cause my body problems and inflammation and exactly what foods are actually beneficial to my body has been really helpful for me. So taking a food sensitivity test and then doing an elimination diet. So starting with foods that you know that your body can tolerate and eating only those foods for about a week, maybe 2, just noticing that regulated state of your body. And then what you can do is start to implement certain foods. You can start to implement things that you like. Oh, how does this make me feel? What happens when I eat this? What happens to my blood sugar? What happens to my mood? What happens to my sleep? What happens to my hormones? Like, how is this helping me or hindering me? And that's been something that's been really beneficial to me is like, I have my baseline of foods. And then sometimes I will experiment with something. How does this make me feel? Okay, yeah, we're not going to eat that again because that caused whatever. Or actually, this is okay and I can start to moderately incorporate it back into my diet. And I think that this is the best way for you to kind of explore and experiment because you are intuitively eating. You're intuitively listening to your body. You're intuitively paying attention to how specific foods are affecting your mood, your homeostasis, your bloating, your gut health, all of these things. And then something that I started doing is, I guess you could call it fasting. I don't necessarily think of it as fasting. I have never really been one to recommend intermittent fasting to my clients because although sometimes your metabolism does need a change up, it does need that bit of a shock to kind of get going again. I think that there are other ways that you can do it than intermittent fasting. But I know that it has proven to be beneficial for some. But what I started doing is I started eating at the same time every morning, and then I stopped eating around the same time every night. Nighttime is a little bit harder, whether I'm out or I'm busy. I can't always eat at the same time every night, but I can commit to eating at the same time every morning. And what is beneficial for that is that my body has some sort of regulation. So every morning, my body knows what time it's going to get that fuel. And that has helped me to really just balance everything out. And in that, I think that it has also helped me to rebalance my digestion and my weight. For a while, I was experiencing some weight gain that I couldn't really shake and I couldn't figure out why. And then when I started creating a regulation for my body and I started doing things on a more consistent basis, I definitely noticed a change in my body. And then it also helps you to balance your hormones because you're not experiencing super low lows or super high highs because your body knows when to expect to eat. It knows when to expect to get caffeine. It knows when to expect to go to sleep every night. So when you put yourself on a schedule, not only of eating, but just keeping yourself in a routine, then your body functions the same way every single day. Your body knows what to count on and you know what to count on your body for. So it's important to create a nourishment plan that works for you. And just as I was just saying, eating at the same time every day, creating a routine of the things that you fuel your body with. Getting high protein in first thing in the morning is going to help your hormone health. It's going to help your homeostasis. It's going to help keep your cortisol down. And also making sure that you're eating before you intake caffeine. Very important. But your morning routine also helps to stabilize your blood sugar and stabilize your cortisol as well. And then having a well-balanced meal, pairing protein with some fats, and then including fiber for sustainability so that your body is getting everything that it needs. It's getting all of the fuel that it needs to not only properly fuel you, but for optimal digestion as well. And then being mindful of caffeine and stress elevating foods. So you know how caffeine is going to make you feel. Even if you're so used to drinking caffeine, you can drink it before you go to sleep. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. Re-regulating your body to operate in a system of peace rather than a system of stress. And so if you're eating foods that are causing stress on your body, or if you're consuming caffeine 4 times a day, that's also causing stress on your body, it's raising your cortisol. So finding the things that your body can easily and properly digest, eliminating things like refined sugars, eliminating things like seed oils and gums. And unfortunately, a lot of our foods do have these things. Something that is really common that people consume on a regular basis, especially out here in LA, is an oat milk or an almond milk. Oat milk is definitely worse because it's going to spike your blood sugar even more than an almond milk will. But a majority of these milks have additives like oils and gums that are not optimal for your gut health. So keeping that in mind, you can find organic ones, but just keeping in mind, starting to read labels, starting to be aware of things that are going to affect your digestive system or affect your body's stress levels and the amount of stress that you put on your body and your digestive system. And starting to eliminate some of those things. You don't have to cut them all out, but just being mindful of the things that you are consuming. And then also, just consuming as many whole foods as possible. Supplements are great, but trying to get all of the nutrients that you need without having to supplement. Trying to find a diet that is all inclusive. And sometimes we do require supplementation, and that's normal, but finding the most optimal supplementation that is the most whole, the most organic, the least processed, so that your body is functioning from a natural state, not from a state of processed and altered foods. And I know that eating for your health can be so expensive, and I know that not everybody has the resources to do so, but my suggestion to you is making the best decision that you can with the knowledge that you have, and starting to incorporate more whole foods, more fruits and vegetables as much as you can. You can even buy frozen fruits and vegetables. They have the same amount of nutrients, but really being mindful of the processed foods that you're consuming, the processed foods that you are bringing home. I don't bring home a lot of processed foods because if I do bring them home, then I will eat them. I do have like a shelf at the top of my pantry where all of my like unhealthy foods go. And it's definitely progressively gotten healthier throughout the years. Now there's not a lot of junk food on them, but if you have it in the home and you're hungry, you're going to eat it. But if you have a plan for your food and you have a plan to consistently nourish your body, the likelihood of you going off track and eating these other foods is less likely. So just finding a plan that works for you, finding the things that work for you, the snacks that work for you, the meal plan, the meal prep that works for you. And what I've noticed is people think of meal prepping as such a task or eating the same thing every day as being tedious or redundant. But for me, what I've noticed is that it allows me the capacity to have so much more creativity in other aspects of my life. And that doesn't mean that I eat the same food every day. That doesn't mean that I eat boring food. I will mix it up, but having a plan for my food from week to week allows me to not have to think about what I'm going to eat every single day. And that allows me the creativity and the capacity and the space in my mind for other thoughts, other projects, other things that I'm working on. And I found that to be really beautiful. So keeping that in mind, that has nothing to do with, what you're putting into your body, but it does, because when you start to find this regulation, then you are able to expend that energy in other areas and other places of your life. So that's something that's really cool. As you're thinking about your foods and what you're eating, it's important to give yourself grace and compassion. Your food, there should never be shame surrounding your food, and it should be an educated choice. And as you're making these choices, recognizing that your body is always communicating with you. As you're eating and experiencing your body, you're having a conversation with your body. It's constant communication. And what kind of a conversation do you want to have with your body? There's no rule book. So things can change from day to day. You set the rules, you set the tones. But when you're able to have that constant communication and intuition and understanding with your body, it allows you to create guidelines that are acceptable and healthy for you. And then start with curiosity when it comes to your food. How does this make me feel? Does this make me tired? Does this give me energy? What is my mood after I eat this? How does my body feel after I eat this? Am I slow? Am I sluggish? Am I ready to go? Start by asking yourself these questions, understanding how each food makes you feel, and you'll start to have a better identification of the things that you want to pour into your body and then the things that you don't want to pour into your body on a consistent basis. And as you continue to listen to your body and think about these changes, recognize that small changes in what you're eating and how you're eating and when you're eating can have a massive effect on the way that you feel, the way that you move throughout your day. So even starting your day eating at 9 a.m. and ending your day eating at 9 p.m., that regulation in itself is going to lower the stress that your body experiences. Adding protein in before you get your coffee, and that's going to lower the stress that your body experiences. Having foods that are digestible, that your body can metabolize, is going to make you feel more energized. It's going to make you feel more focused throughout the day. So recognizing that you don't have to make 100 changes in order to have an impact on your day-to-day. Recognizing that you don't have to cut out all of the foods that you enjoy in order to change your hormone health or change your gut health. But recognizing that there are small changes that you can make that are going to make a big difference. And then recognizing that what works for you isn't what's working for somebody else. So finding the experts that you might need, doing your research, trial and erroring certain foods or certain supplements, and really creating a unique strategic plan that is catered just for you, because your body deserves that. Your mind deserves that, and you deserve that. As you move through the week this week, I encourage you to just pay attention to how you feel when you eat certain foods. Intuitively eat, take the time to listen to your body, and take the time to recognize the power of eating foods that are properly fueling your body versus eating foods that are full of additives and sugars and gums and oils, and noticing the way your body processes each of them. I am sending you so much love and light this week. Have a beautiful week.